You may be aging faster than you realize, and it's not your fault. Most people assume looking young is about genetics, skincare, or healthy habits. But there's a silent factor that impacts your appearance far more than you realize. How you manage your inner world. The way you respond to stress, how long you hold on to resentment, and whether or not you allow yourself to heal, that's what shapes how old or young you look and feel. Stress leaves fingerprints on your face. Tension in your neck becomes a furrowed brow. Unspoken anxiety shows up in dull eyes. Emotional weight hardens your features over time. And the longer you carry emotional baggage, the more visible it becomes. Insightful psychologists describe stress as a sculptor. It doesn't yell. It works quietly, carving worry lines into your forehead, dragging down the corners of your mouth, dimming your energy. Every unprocessed emotion becomes another layer of fatigue your body wears. It's psychological weight turned physical, and we carry it in our posture, our skin, and even our breath. But here's the difference. People who look younger aren't just lucky. They've cultivated emotional self-regulation. They feel fully, but don't stay stuck. They know how to acknowledge pain and then let it move through them. That's the foundation of an ageless mindset. They take the blows, but don't let the bruises remain. That's not just poetic, it's practical. Radical self-responsibility means choosing how you process pain instead of letting it silently age you. Instead of blaming life, people, or the past, you decide to be the curator of your internal landscape. True youth begins within. It starts when you stop waiting for peace and start creating it. Mental clarity replaces confusion. Inner peace replaces reactivity. Psychological youth replaces physical strain. You glow not because of what you apply to your skin, but what you release from your nervous system. People don't realize they're aging from emotions they never acknowledged, from childhood wounds they buried, from years of suppressing their truth. These invisible wounds show up in visible ways. You're not old, you're overloaded. And without healing, even joy can feel like a burden. Let's reframe that. You're not tired because of age. You're tired from carrying emotions that were never yours to keep. You're not worn out from life itself, but from the stories you've had to hold on to in silence. Take Marcus, for example. At 42, he had lost his business, gone through a divorce, and nearly burned out. But he made a radical choice. He went to therapy, took up journaling, and began meditating daily. He also started painting again, something he hadn't done since college. 2 years later, people routinely mistake him for 30. What changed? He cleared space inside. He let go. He grew curious again, and he made living with purpose a daily priority. This story shows how letting go of the past isn't weakness, it's youth work. Passion-driven living returned him to vitality. Curiosity and growth reactivated parts of him long dormant. His energy changed, and so did his face. Emotional lightness became visible. This is the invisible work. It doesn't get applause. It's not sexy, but it shows up in how you enter a room, in how you smile, in how you carry yourself. It's the glow that comes from not needing external validation to feel whole. Here's the truth. Psychological youth isn't about denying reality. It's about facing it, then choosing your response. Inner peace is cultivated. Clarity is chosen. You don't fall into a healthy mindset. You build it. When you live with purpose, you move differently. When you master your mindset, life doesn't stop being hard, but it stops aging you. Every breath becomes intentional. Every thought becomes lighter. Every choice becomes a form of liberation. This is the ageless mindset. Radical self-responsibility, emotional clarity, and the courage to let go. Not because you have it all figured out, but because you refuse to let what you carry destroy your spirit. It's about waking up every day and deciding to begin again. So ask yourself, honestly, what are you still holding that's quietly aging you? And what would happen if, just for today, you let it go? Subscribe to Mindset Mastery Hub, your daily dose of inner youth. You're stuck, and it's aging you. Not because of time, but because of tension. Because deep inside, you stopped growing long ago, and your body followed suit. Mental rigidity shows up on your skin. You keep saying, "This is just how I am," and wonder why everything feels heavier. Flexibility is youth, mentally and physically. We age not simply because years pass, but because we resist evolution. Your muscles tighten when you stop stretching. Your thoughts do the same. And the cost of that resistance is written across your face. When we fear change, we start to shrink. not just in ambition, but in presence. Our energy dims, our curiosity fades. We live in loops, same habits, same reactions, same emotional spiral, trapped in a script we didn't even write. And what begins as resistance becomes identity. This emotional spiral is the quiet killer of vitality. It starts with discomfort, a new situation, an unfamiliar request. Then comes resistance. I'm too old for this. Followed by self-rejection. I don't belong in this space. Before you know it, you've given up on growth, and your body carries that story. The posture, the expression, the stillness, all signs of a mind stuck in yesterday. A stiff mind leads to stiff joints and stiff expressions. People can see it in how you move, how you speak, how you hold back. You're not rigid because you're aging. You're aging because you're rigid. Radical self-responsibility means admitting this. The world may change fast, but you have the power to stay fluid, to adapt, to remain mentally alive. It means choosing to stop living on autopilot and start asking deeper questions. What if I did try something new? What if I let go of the past story that I'm too late? Reframe this moment. You're not stuck. You've just paused for too long. And the way forward isn't speed. It's softness. It's curiosity. It's the courage to be a beginner again. Psychological youth isn't a fantasy. It's a mindset. When you remain open, you remain vibrant. When you meet life with exploration instead of fear, you invite energy in. Every new experience stretches the soul, and every small act of learning reconnects you to purpose. Take Danielle, 56, a former accountant who hadn't drawn since college. After an unexpected layoff, she signed up for a beginner's art class. At first, her hands trembled. She doubted herself, but something changed. She started waking up earlier, smiling more. Her friends said her face looked brighter. The act of learning again lit a fire inside her. It wasn't about art, it was about aliveness. That's the mirror effect. When you say why not instead of I'm too old, your biology listens. Hormones shift, posture lifts, energy returns. You stop shrinking and start expanding. She didn't just return to drawing, she returned to herself. Let go of the past idea that life is linear, that there's one timeline and you've missed it. Inner peace doesn't mean stillness. It means inner space, the kind that makes room for uncertainty, for learning, for becoming. When you live with purpose, the years don't weigh on you the same way, because you're not dragging the past, you're dancing with the present. Passion-driven living becomes a way to reclaim time. Mental clarity becomes a refuge. Emotional self-regulation becomes your protection. Curiosity and growth aren't hobbies, they're lifelines. They reconnect you to yourself. And the beautiful irony, the more you accept that you'll never be finished, the more timeless you become. Master your mindset, and the pressure dissolves. You don't need to prove youth, you just need to live it. Let go of the belief that it's too late. Let go of the pressure to have mastered everything already. Choose radical self-responsibility, not to force progress, but to free your future, because you were never meant to live in one season forever. You were built to evolve, and every time you say yes to the unknown, you say yes to life. So ask yourself this: when was the last time you did something for the first time? Comment below the last time you said, why not, instead of, I'm too old. Routine is the real wrinkle. You stopped growing years ago, and so did your glow. Reignite your curiosity. Reignite your youth. You don't need a facelift. You need a mindset shift. Repeating the same day for years isn't safety. It's spiritual stagnation. A curious mind never ages because it's always being renewed. There's a reason we associate youth with energy, brightness, and excitement. It's not about skin. It's about spirit. When you stop asking questions, stop seeking, stop creating, something inside you begins to dim. You fall into emotional autopilot, and that's where aging truly begins. Insight. A mind that stops exploring grows stale. A heart that stops learning forgets how to feel alive. Growth isn't just something we do in our 20s, it's a soul language, and the body listens. The moment we stop being curious is the moment our psychological youth begins to fade. Most people don't realize they've stopped evolving. They get up, go to work, scroll, repeat. No open loops, no sparks, just routines that slowly replace vitality with numbness. That's the emotional spiral: predictability, disengagement, internal decay. But here's the mirror effect. Your face reflects what your spirit's been doing. When you live with purpose, your presence feels sharp. When you keep learning, you radiate. Mental clarity is magnetic and rare. That glow, it's not skincare, it's soul care. It's the result of inner motion, not external lotion. It's easy to say I'm too busy or it's too late. But psychological youth doesn't care about age. It cares about energy. It asks, are you still curious? Are you still willing to try? To mess up? To wonder? Let go of the idea that growth has an expiration date. Let go of the past versions of you that stopped dreaming. Begin again, not because you must, but because you can. Curiosity and growth don't demand perfection. They ask for permission. Yours. Charles is 68, retired engineer, never used social media. His granddaughter begged him to try a TikTok dance. He laughed, then he tried, then he posted, and then something shifted. I felt ridiculous, he said, but I also felt awake. That's what curiosity does. It stirs your nervous system. It pulls you into the present. It whispers, you're not done yet. There's a reason therapists say learning is healing, because when you stretch your mind, you disrupt old patterns. You give your emotions a new path to walk. You open internal space. You find freedom. Passion-driven living begins with tiny sparks, with that one choice to return to play, to exploration, to joy. Reframe youth entirely. It's not a decade. It's a decision, one you make every time you try something new. When you master your mindset, you stop chasing youth and start embodying it. You realize that your glow wasn't something you lost. It's something you paused. You just need to press play again. Inner peace isn't stillness. It's knowing you're moving with intention. Mental clarity isn't silence. It's direction. When you live with purpose, you don't fear getting older. You fear getting stagnant. Emotional self-regulation matters here because curiosity often feels vulnerable. You'll doubt yourself. You'll feel awkward. But when you stay present through the discomfort, something unlocks. You begin to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Pause here. What did you used to love before the world told you to be practical? What would happen if you returned to that? What if the very thing that makes you feel silly is what might actually keep you young? This isn't a motivational quote. This is biology. The brain rewires through novelty. The heart reawakens through risk. The nervous system thrives on movement, inside and out. Even 5 minutes of trying something new can spark change. Learn a language, sing off key, write that email, say yes. Do one small thing that scares you and lights you up. Because the most ageless people you know, they never stopped exploring. They never stopped beginning again. So here's your open loop. What's something you've never done, but secretly want to try? Tag someone whose curiosity inspires you. Then go do that thing, today. That's how youth begins, again and again. You don't carry age on your face. You carry it in the stories you refuse to release. Forgiveness is anti-aging. Holding on doesn't protect you, it imprisons you. Let go, live light, look younger. You've been dragging years behind you, not because of time, but because of tension. Regrets, resentments, the things you replay every night like unpaid debt. They weigh more than the number on your ID. They etch themselves into your posture, your voice, your energy. Letting go isn't weakness, it's mastery. The ability to choose peace over proof. The decision to stop rehearsing old pain just to feel something. The moment you stop clinging, something inside begins to breathe again. That breath, that's renewal. That's youth. Your nervous system doesn't know the past is over. When you rehash that betrayal, relive that shame, rehearse that old failure, your body thinks it's still happening. The stress is stored in your muscles, your skin, your sleep. It robs you of vitality. It dulls your psychological youth. Healing begins not when you fix everything, but when you stop gripping it. When you allow the pain to dissolve, not through revenge or logic, but through release. And suddenly, something lifts. Your breath deepens, your face softens, your eyes regain that light. Angela, 62, carried anger toward her sister for 15 years over an old betrayal. She wore it, in her jawline, her gaze, her fatigue. Until one quiet walk, she let it go. Not for her sister, for herself. She didn't announce it, she simply stopped holding it. Weeks later, someone said, "You look younger, did something happen?" She smiled, "I finally let go." That's the mirror effect. Psychological youth isn't denial, it's release. It's the glow that comes not from cosmetics, but from clarity. When you're no longer fighting the past, your face forgets the war. Inner peace becomes visible. Reframe the myth. You don't need closure. You need a choice. To value peace over justice. To stop waiting for an apology and start writing your own permission slip to heal. Because sometimes the healing doesn't come from others. It starts with radical self-responsibility, a decision that your story deserves better than pain on repeat. Mental clarity follows emotional release. You stop rehearsing old battles in your head. You create space for purpose, for ideas, for possibility. That's when you shift from surviving to designing, from reacting to rewriting. Passion-driven living requires emotional space, and forgiveness creates that space. And yes, it's messy. Emotional self-regulation doesn't mean staying calm. It means staying conscious. Letting tears come. Letting forgiveness come too. Staying with the discomfort until it transforms. Because only through that tension can the truth of who you are begin to surface. Passion-driven living starts here. Not with goals, but with grief. Not with dreams, but with letting go of what dims them. You can't create forward while clinging backward. The weight of your past keeps your future out of reach. Let go of the belief that the pain defines you. Let go of the idea that healing requires perfection. Let go of the timeline that says it's too late. You are not behind. You are becoming. The most vibrant people are the ones who've shed what wasn't theirs to carry. You were never meant to carry it all. Some things were lessons, some were anchors, some were just noise. Drop them, with breath, with love, with soft eyes toward the future. Inner peace is not passivity, it's radical self-responsibility. It's deciding that your energy is sacred, that your future deserves space, that your life deserves to be lighter, that your joy matters more than your memory of pain. Pause here. What are you still gripping that's already gone? Imagine how light you'd feel without it. Imagine what could return: laughter, rest, creativity, if you stopped renting space to resentment. Imagine how much younger your spirit would feel if it were free again. This is where motivation and healing hold hands. When you release the old, you rise, you glow, you lead. Not from force, but from freedom. Not from proving, but from peace. So here's your open loop. What's one thing you could release today? Tag someone who inspires your healing. Write down the story you're ready to stop telling. Then do something small to reclaim your light. Let go. Live light. Look younger. It begins right now, and it begins with you. Subscribe to Mindset Mastery Hub and begin your ageless mindset journey.